You're listening to Flaunt. Find your sparkle and create a life you love after infidelity or betrayal. A podcast for women who've been betrayed by their intimate partner and want to turn their devastation into an invitation to reclaim themselves and their worth. Tune in weekly so you can start making sense of it all and learn how to be okay on the inside, no matter what goes on the outside. Download your free Betrayal Recovery Toolkit at betrayalrecoveryguide.com.
To all the women who have cried in the shower, smiled when they wanted to scream, and couldn't wait to get home and unhook their bra, Flaunt is the definitive guidebook on how to get back in touch with who you are underneath your labels, roles, and scripts. Fall in love with yourself right now. Breathe life into the dreams you left behind and live each day with uninhibited joy. Pick up a copy of Laura Cheadle's #1 best-selling book, Flaunt. Drop your cover and reveal your smart, sexy, and spiritual self wherever books are sold. It's available in print, digital, and audio formats and comes with 2 downloadable meditations.
Hello and welcome to Flaunt. Find your sparkle and create a life you love after infidelity or betrayal. I'm Laura Cheadle, and yes, I was cheated on by my partner too. And I have created a life that I not only love, but a life that I truly adore and wouldn't trade for the world. Today, I want to talk to you about how to survive being cheated on. I want to talk about your healing strategy, and I want to lay out a healing strategy for you right here, right now, today, so you can have a concrete plan that will move you forward so you too can start feeling better fast, much faster than without listening to this, much faster than without getting help. And you can be on the road to creating that positive next chapter in your life. Before we get into doing that, though, there are a couple of things that I want to say. Number one, the information contained in this podcast is enormously valuable. Most listeners say they listen to shows multiple times. They'll listen to it like one time and be like, I get it. And then they'll be like, there was more there. And they listen to it again so they can start using the tactics, the strategies, and they listen and they get more information. So follow me, subscribe to the show. And then most importantly, leave a review. You can leave a review on Amazon Podcasts. You can do both the star rating and you can write in a review, because the reviews help other listeners know which voices to trust. And there's a lot of voices in the infidelity space. And what I found when I was going through it is there's a lot of cynics out there. And it didn't help. It just didn't help. Yes, I needed things to be realistic, but I didn't need bitterness. I didn't need cynicism. I didn't need a bunch of people bringing me down when I was already on the floor. It was all I could do to bring myself up. I needed some clarity and I needed some support and I needed some positive interaction. I didn't need people telling me how much worse it was going to get. So pretty please subscribe and leave a review for this podcast so others can find it and we can share the love. Number 2, I would really love it if you reach out. It's always fun when people reach out. It's always fun when they share their story, whether it's hopping on a free Zoom call with me. I offer everybody a free 15, 20-minute Zoom call, whether it's just shooting me an email. Talk to me. Share your story. Let me know what else you need. I find guests and I create this show to serve your needs. So what are your needs? Let me know what your needs are, and then I can find somebody who can help you address them, or I can do a show addressing those needs, or I can send you the link to a show that I did do in the past because I've had this show for many years. So reach out. Let me know how I can support you and what you most need so I can serve your needs. Okay, so with that, thank you for doing those two things. And let's talk about how to survive being cheated on, your healing strategy. Now, I've got 5 steps to do this. And before we get into that, I want to acknowledge how painful it is for you to be going through this. I know for me, it was the most painful thing that has ever happened to me, because it's not just one moment of shock that then goes away. Learning that my husband had cheated on me for 15 years with 5 different women disrupted my entire view of my marriage, my kids' childhood, all of our vacations and anniversaries. It disrupted my view of who I was, if I was attractive, if I was worthy, if I was good enough. I worried about what other people would think. It disrupted everything. It's not just like, whoa, I had this horrible shock and then I got over it. You don't just get over infidelity. Anybody who tells you to just get over it doesn't get it, because infidelity is not something you just get over. Infidelity is something that impacts you on every single level: body, mind, spirit. It disrupts your past. It disrupts your present. It disrupts your future. It is huge. And when I'm saying you're not going to just get over it, I'm not saying you're never going to heal. You absolutely will heal if you do these steps. But what I am saying, it's not something you can just be like, breathe in, breathe out, and let it go. Yay, it's all good. It's not that easy. It is too impactful. So however you feel now, whether it's very early or it happened years ago, I want to honor you. You've been holding on to a lot, and this is not easy and it is not fun. And you don't have to feel broken forever. Here's how you survive. Number 1, the very first thing you need to do if you're going to survive being cheated on, if you're going to survive your partner's affair, is to fall apart. And that might not be what you expected me to say, but the very first thing to do is to fall apart and to feel your pain. You've got to feel it to heal it. And here's what I want to say. I don't get very religious on us often because I tend to be more spiritual than traditionally religious. But I want you to think about the journey of Jesus. Whether you believe it literally or figuratively, think about what that journey was and how we memorialize that journey. How we talk about the journey of the crucifixion. We don't just say, oh, get over it. He rose 3 days later and it's super awesome. Just ignore the whole crucifixion thing because good things happened. You can't ignore the journey. You can't ignore the bad. Yay, we had a resurrection. Woo-hoo-hoo, all good. Doesn't negate the fact that there was a freaking crucifixion, and that's a really bad thing. Again, whether you believe it literally or symbolically, I don't care. I'm just telling you this in terms of like allegory and story. Any story that's out there, any journey in history, when it turns out okay, we don't just wipe it away. We don't say, oh, yay, the Holocaust is over. We don't talk about it again. We don't say, oh, yay, the Challenger space shuttle, it exploded, but we've had many successful things. It's all fine. Just ignore it. We don't ignore the bad stuff. It's not healthy to ignore the bad stuff. We need to grieve the bad stuff. We need to process. We need to memorialize it. We need to talk about it. We need to talk about how hideous it was, about how horrendous it was. We need to feel all of our feelings. What you don't want is to get locked in those feelings. You don't want to stay stuck in those feelings. Guess how people tend to get locked into feelings? Because they've ignored them. When you cover up the feelings and pretend that they don't exist, and when you try to bypass over it, be like, but it was all good. Resurrection, it's all good. That's when you get trapped in your feelings. So grieve them. Cry, scream, run, push really heavy weights, write nasty, vile letters and burn them. Call people, cry, take photos if you still have photos. Do all of the things. Go to a thrift store and buy some things to smash and break. Wear goggles, please. But do all the things that you need to do to get those feelings out and to feel them fully. Rage, feel those feelings. Now, I just recently did a couple of shows on anger. It's not about attacking other people. It's not about calling your partner and screaming at them. It's not about going over to the affair partner's house and slashing tires and breaking windows. It's about you releasing the energy that is that anger in a way that doesn't impact others, but that it gets it out of your body. And you know what? For you, it might not be anger. It might be grief. It might be collapse. It might be crumpled in. Doesn't matter. That is step number one. Feel whatever it is you're feeling. And you know what? You're going to feel crazy. I just want to name that. You are going to feel crazy. You're supposed to feel crazy. Nobody can have their entire life and identity turned upside down and they don't feel crazy. Again, going back to my whole story of the crucifixion and the resurrection, we don't go, oh yeah, that was really bizarre. We have to acknowledge it. We have to feel it. And if you're going through a bad time, you're going to feel crazy and you're going to question your reality. Question away. Let it out and fall apart. The other reason people tend to get stuck in those bad feelings is first by covering them up and pretending that they don't exist. But the second reason is because they don't get help. And that is step number 2. Get help. I'm climbing up on a soapbox. Go get help. I'm climbing to the top of a mountain and I'm calling out, go get help. Go get help. Let me tell you a little story. The story is why getting help was the hardest thing Laura ever did. Why getting help is the hardest thing you were going to do. And if you've got a partner who's like, yeah, I'm not getting help, or I don't want to do this, have them listen to this part of the show because it's going to reframe their understanding on getting help. So this story is for me, this story is for you, and this story is for your partner. I feel like I am the kind of person who always really tried hard in life. You might know I practiced law for 10 years. Then I quit work. I stayed home with my kids so my husband could really lean full force into his career. And because wellness was a big thing for me, I started a part-time wellness coaching practice. I did yoga, I did personal training, I taught fitness class, I did energy work, and I did intuitive readings for people. And it was an amazing part-time mom career. And I thought it was really wonderful because it allowed me to explore what I thought was like my greatness. I could always work on myself. I could always meditate and learn more. It was such self-development focused. And I'm like, this is amazing. I'm just getting better and better. And I am so good. And it's not that I was an egotistical, crazy person, but it really allowed me to lean into that illusion of perfection. I was always working out. So yay, my body was pretty good. I was doing health things. So yay, I was very self-reflective and self-aware. I had time to take care of things at home because I wasn't working full time. Yes, I was a stressed out mess a lot of the time. But again, it allowed me to lean into that illusion that, yes, I can show up for the kids. I can volunteer. I can do all of these different things. And I was proud of myself. I was really proud of myself for doing good. I was really proud of myself. My husband traveled a lot. So I felt like I kind of was a single mom in a lot of ways, because literally he would travel like 2 weeks out of every month. So I worked hard, but I was really proud of me. I was really proud of the way that I pulled everything together. And I was proud of him because his career could flourish and we could do all these great things. So fast forward to finding out about his infidelity. I found out after 23 years of marriage that he had cheated for 15 years. 15 years. Oh my gosh, what are people going to think? Again, not in a crazy egotistical way, but holy cow, people think we're a pulled together family. People think we're normal. People are always telling me, oh, you're such a good mom and you're so sweet and your body's so great and you and your husband are so fun and I bet you have a great life. And I thought we did. I thought we did. I thought we were great friends. I thought we had a ton in common. We did great vacations. We did great family activities. Like, this totally breaks my view of my family. This breaks my view of myself. This breaks my view of our entire experience. And in my mind, crazy people on Jerry Springer had affairs. In my mind, affairs were like trashy people following people around, having private investigators and then screaming and getting on reality TV. And you know what I'm saying? Like the total trashy image of what it meant when somebody cheated. Or this is another one too, that like the woman is totally obsessed with the kids and she's totally lost touch with her body and she doesn't do anything and her poor husband just serves them all the time and she never pays him any attention and the poor guy, or she nags him all the time. Nobody could stand her. How could he live with her? Of course he had to cheat. Like all of these images in my head, all of these narratives about what it meant. In particular, what it meant about me and my family if suddenly my partner had an affair. And I was like, oh my Lord, I can't get help. I can't talk to anybody about this because it's ridiculous, because nobody will believe me, because I don't want to be the psycho crazy person. Why would I get help? Nobody can help me. I'm smart. I can figure this out. My situation must be an anomaly. What's going on with me has to be different than everybody else. That was my mindset. Let me tell you, it's not an anomaly. Let me tell you, 99% of the women that I work with feel that same way or very similar. They're like, how could this happen in my life? I'm not the kind of person that ever thought this would happen in my life. It's like, yeah. You know what they all say too? I never thought my husband was the type. Nope. That's the thing. That's the thing. That's why it's a betrayal. Because you don't see it coming and because it doesn't make sense. And because that energy is not in your life and in your marriage. That's why it's a betrayal. Otherwise, you're not blindsided. Otherwise, you're like, yep, I could have seen it coming a mile away. We were unhappy. He was checking out other women. That's why it's a betrayal. So I didn't want to get help because I thought my situation was very unique. And then here's the other reason. And this is what I want you and your partner to hear too. Big gulp before I say this. Big old gulp. Once you seek help, it means you're admitting to something, which means you're making it real, which means you can't pretend it doesn't exist anymore. Ooh, did you feel that? Did you hear that? Once you call someone, once you email someone, once you set up an appointment, what you have done is you have just admitted something that you don't want to admit. You have brought it out into the light and been like, bam, here it is. I haven't wanted to admit to it because if I admit to it, it means it's real. And then I have to figure it out. I can't ignore it. I can't cover it up. I can't pretend it doesn't exist. Oh, I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready for that. Whether it's domestic violence, whether it's alcoholism, gambling addiction, porn addiction, any of these things, sexual assault, sexual abuse, once we admit that it's there, which is the scariest thing in the world, it gets better. It doesn't feel like it right away because we're not typically prepared. We don't usually just go running in and be like, let me admit all of this to you. We usually have that panic reaction that I have to cover. I have to armor up. I have to hide. We've got to bury it deeper. Shh. It's not going to come out of the box. Not going to talk about this one. Too many feelings, too much pain, and I don't know what to do about it. What I want to promise you is this. A, if you admit it to somebody, it takes a huge, huge burden off your shoulders. Huge. Because you're not holding the secret. You're not pressing the lid down, trying to contain something that shouldn't be contained. And also, it's really not even your secret in a lot of ways. You were victimized. But yeah, people who are victimized don't want to talk about it because there's this thing called victim blaming. And worse, we victim blame ourselves. So, well, like I said, A, when you admit it, it takes this huge weight off your shoulders. It feels threatening. You will have a resistance. You will have resistance. But then once you speak those words, you feel this enormous relief, followed by this, oh, poop response of now I have to do something. And I don't know what to do. And what I want to say to you is you don't have to know. You don't have to know. One of the things that I do in my coaching program, and I'm going to walk you through that today, so you get a huge bonus here. My Rise and Reign coaching program is 6 months. Why is it 6 months? Because it takes time for you to learn what to do, develop the skills and strategies, but to assimilate it inside. That's the biggest piece, is to assimilate inside. Okay, this is what I need to do. Most people can't just fall out of love in an instant. They can't just disrupt their entire life and make a decision in an instant. We fall in love over time. We fall out of love over time. We have to, whether it's moving or getting a job or having kids, or we have to move into things gently. We don't want to give ourselves whiplash by being like, and woo, I was totally in love and I was in a connected partnership on Monday, and then on Tuesday, it's all different and I'm out of here. It takes time. It takes time for the reality of our situation to catch up, and you do not need to decide anything right now. That's why I do this over 6 months. We talk about everything over 6 months, and you start assimilating pieces. And you don't have to do that part in a linear fashion either. Like if you were the betraying partner and you're listening to this, you might be like, I don't even know. I have to make amends. I have to deal with my own stress and anxiety and getting rid of this affair fog and maybe cutting things off with the affair partner. I have to clean up damage with my kids, making amends with my spouse. I've got some addiction things going on. I think maybe I need to address that. I've got some trauma, some childhood trauma. I've got some poor coping skills. I've got self-esteem. I've got some depression. And oh my gosh, I'm trying to work at the same time. Of course, that's too much. Nobody can fix all that in a day, in a week, in a month. Give yourself time. Can you tackle that in 6 months? That's much more reasonable. Can you tackle that in a year? That's much more reasonable. What I like to do in the 6 months that we are together is get that strategy laid out. Okay, where do we start? We might start with the fact that, you know what, you need to keep your job. We might start with the fact that, okay, no contact with the affair partner. You might need to do some work on grieving that loss, because that's something that people have to do too. Then you might have to worry about making some amends with your family. Then you might have to start facing some of this childhood trauma and figuring out your reasons why. Then maybe we'll start looking at some of the addiction things, not to go down the whole 12-step program yet, but just to explore some ideas. How does that sound? And you work that strategy slowly over time. So getting help is threatening and it's terrifying because people incorrectly assume that once they admit it, then they're going to have to do something tomorrow. And they're not equipped and they're not prepared and they're not ready. Okay, when you admit it, yes, it brings it into the light. You realize, yeah, I have to do something. But that's the point where you start bringing in what is the strategy. So if there is no other takeaway from this show, and there's going to be some great golden nuggets, but if there's no other takeaway, what I want you to focus on is getting help. Getting help. Admitting to a qualified person. I'm not saying admit it to your neighbor or to your bunco partner. Admit it to a qualified professional. Whether you get a consultation with an attorney, whether you reach out to a marriage counselor, whether you reach out to me as an infidelity and betrayal recovery specialist and coach, or whether you reach out to some other kind of coach or energy worker or whatever it is, tell a qualified person. Tell them. Whether it's a free 20-minute consultation, whether you have an appointment and you dump some stuff, just tell somebody. That is my number one takeaway. Number one takeaway, tell somebody. If you're stuck for a counselor, I partner with BetterHelp. If you go to BetterHelp, the website, and use discount code FLAUNT, FLAUNT, you get a discount. I think it's 10% off your first month. Get help. Get help and admit it. Because once you admit it, that's when everything changes. Now, as part of getting help, I want to talk about the difference between strategy and tactics, because they are very different things. Why does affair recovery work for some people and it doesn't work for other people? Two reasons. Affair recovery, if you're going to build together as a couple, takes two people fully committed. So it's not going to work if you only have one person fully committed. If you're both waffling and one of you is always strong when the other one is waffling, that can work because eventually you can get both people on the same page. But if one person is like, I'm out, they're out. And no, I don't care how good somebody's promise is. You cannot force another person to be in a marriage that they do not want to be in. And you cannot make somebody else do something that you want them to do. So the reason affair recovery works is two committed partners. You don't have to be committed at the same time, but you do have to have two people that hold the same vision. The second reason that affair recovery does not work, and this is a big one, is because people use tactics, but not an overall strategy. Strategy is the map of how you are going to get there. What are you going to do first? What are you going to do second? What are you going to do third? What do you need to learn before you get to 4? What do you need to put together before you get to 5? It's the strategy of how to do something. If you think about a recipe, what is the strategy? You can't just take all the ingredients, dump them in a pan, and stick them in the oven. You have to measure things out. You might have to stir or blend. You need to know the temperature. You need to know what kind of pan. You need to know, are you baking? Are you greasing and flouring something? What are you doing? Strategy is how you put it together. You don't take the frosting and do that first and bake the cake around it. You have to know the order of operations. Remember math? Remember the order of operations? You don't just randomly add a couple of different numbers and subtract a few different numbers and then multiply this over here. You have the order of operations. Things that are in parentheses get done first. Remember that? When there's like a whole string of numbers, if there's something in a parenthetical, you do that first, whether it's multiplying those two numbers or adding those. There's an order of operations that gives you the correct result. There is an order of operations in a fair recovery that gives you the correct result as well. How many people know that? Probably not many. How many people mess it up and then be like, this doesn't work? Probably a lot. So aren't you glad you're listening to this show? Aren't you glad you know the difference? Okay, that is strategy. Strategy is the order of operations. What do you do? How long do you do it? When do you know it's done? And what is the next step? The tactic is that thing that you do. Here's the thing. Counseling is a tactic. Therapy is a tactic. Energy work is a tactic. Coaching is a tactic. 12-step programs are a tactic. Reading a book is a tactic. Listening to podcasts is a tactic. Meditation is a tactic. Yoga is a tactic. Hiking together is a tactic. Couples retreats are tactics. Those are tactics. So many people come to me and they say, we've done it all. I've read all the books. I've read all the podcasts. We did a couples retreat. I did a women's retreat. He's wonderful. You're doing tactics. But what was your overall strategy? Why are you doing those tactics? In service of what? Therapy in service of what? Women's retreats in service of what? 12-step programs in service of what? What is the overall strategy? Because unless you can tell me the strategy behind why you're doing that, you're just throwing money away. You're just throwing money away. Women's retreats are great ways for you to find connection, to purge your emotion, to have better understanding of yourself. Are those things you need? Sometimes people are like, well, sure, but what I really needed was to deal with the trauma. Okay, going to a women's retreat is not going to help you deal with the trauma. Why do you want to deal with the trauma? Oh, so I can better manage my triggers and I won't be triggered by my husband. And then we can have this conversation. Perfect. We need the strategy. In order to have the strategy, you need to start with the end in mind. What is my vision of myself and my marriage? What is my partner's vision of himself and the marriage? When we come together, and this is our vision, we want to have fun together. We want to continue to raise our kids together and have grandkids together. We want to stay working in the same business together. We want to be more open with each other. We want to have deeper conversations. We want to absolutely learn how to communicate better. We want to share vulnerabilities. We want to spend more quality time. We want to understand each other's love languages. What are all the things that you want to do? Once you know what it is that you want to do, then you reverse engineer it. What will get you there? What will make you a better communicator? Oh, maybe a communications course. Oh, maybe learning Imago dialogue. Oh, maybe reading this book or taking some kind of an assessment. Then you find the tactic that works into your strategy that gives you what you need. Wonderful. If one of your goals in creating this kind of relationship you want is learning how to have better communication, now we have a tactic that can help that. One of the things that you will probably need in that strategy is how to understand why the affair happened in service of it not happening again. Unless you understand why the affair happened, it's going to happen again. Great. Let's find a tactic that can help us understand why that happened. Trauma therapy might be really, really good for that one. Does that make sense? The strategy are the steps that you take to get to your goal. Somebody explained it to me in terms of Lego bricks or even regular bricks. You can have this huge pile of Lego bricks. Each little brick is a tactic. But unless you have the directions, you can't build the Lego Death Star. because you're just putting them together in random pieces. And sometimes you'll get something that looks sort of like the Lego Death Star, but you need the strategy. Build this first, then build that second. Same thing like in terms of building a regular house. If you're going to build the house, you need the blueprint, you need the strategy. You can't put up electrical first and then do plumbing second, and then do the ceiling third and the walls fourth and the floor fifth. And then, oh, wait, how are we going to dig this foundation? Order of operations. You've got to figure out, we dig the foundation first. We put up the little 2x4s and we frame it next. We can put in the plumbing and the electricity while the walls are open. Strategy and tactics. If it is not working for you, and if you are frustrated because you've done all the things, you probably have done all the things, but you were missing the strategy, and maybe you used the wrong tactics that will get you there. So again, I hope you listen to this part. I want you to share this part with your betraying partner too. Because what I know from every single betraying partner is they want to feel better too. They don't want to feel shame. They don't want to feel pain. They want help too. But oh my gosh, is it terrifying to admit? Because if they get help, it means they have to admit that they did this, that they're still doing this, that they're not sure what they want, that they are sure what they want, but they don't know how to get there. And they're embarrassed because men don't ask for directions, because they have been acculturated to believe that they should know how to get there. Nobody knows how to get there. Asking for directions is hard. Getting help is hard. I know, as a former perfectionist who really thought I was doing everything right, it was really hard to ask for help. In fact, let me tell you, I reached out to a couple places online and then was like, ooh, not going to listen, unsubscribe, because it terrified me. And then the day that I had reached out to a couples retreat, they said that we were supposed to have a couples call. I came a little bit unhinged before the couples call. Palms were sweating. I thought I might vomit. I didn't want to admit any of this. I didn't even want to sit there on a call with another human being and be like, yeah, my partner cheated on me. And I didn't have any clue. I was just in my own happy little la la land. That was a bad day. That was hard. I've told this story online too. Even though after that call, I felt much better. And they ended up saying, why don't you come to this retreat we've got? My first reaction was, can we just do it privately? I would rather pay you more and have a private one-on-one session with you all than to show up at a couples retreat and sit in the room with what I still thought would be all of these trashy losers. Shows you how little I knew, right? Shows you how little I knew. Because I still thought I was special. I still thought our situation was different. Spoiler alert, it was not. Spoiler alert, yours is not either. So we had a call with them. I thought, yeah, I think this can help. And we signed up for the couples retreat. And we packed and we got someone to watch our animals, and the kids were away at school and everything was taken care of. And on the way to the airport, I had a complete and total crying meltdown, and I almost refused to go. I almost refused to go. Even though we paid, we had our plane tickets, and we were on our way, I almost refused to go. And even at the hotel, I was like, I don't even know if I can walk downstairs and go in the room. And my husband's like, that's okay. You do you. But we'll be there. You can just turn this into a vacation, even if you don't show up. I'm like, fine. Walking into that room was also mortifying. Mortifying. That whole first day was really tough. There were many moments where I did relax, but there were also many moments where my guard was up so high and that wall was so thick because I didn't want to be there. And I didn't want to admit what had happened. And my promise to you is that it will only get better once you admit and once you get help. Sometimes the best thing we can do is truly to lean in to our fears. Because when we lean out, they only get bigger and scarier. And if I would have run away from that first phone call, I probably wouldn't have reached out again. I probably wouldn't have sought coaching. I probably wouldn't have sought therapy. If I would have turned around and not shown up at that retreat, then I would have been mortified that I signed up and didn't show up, and then I wouldn't have gotten help, and it would have made it worse. So I can promise you that when you reach out, it will get better. It might get better in a different way than you think, but getting help will help you. And it's hard. And I want to validate that it's hard to get help. And if that's you, if I'm talking to you right now, I really do encourage you to reach out to me because I know I'm nice to you. Because I know that pain and I know that fear. And if it's not me, reach out to somebody else that you trust. And they will be nice to you too, but it will get better. I can promise you that. Okay, number 3, focus on taking care of yourself. What I tell my clients is what I'm going to tell you. Take care of your peace of mind. You can't take care of what anybody else does. You can't take care of what anybody else feels or believes. You can't even necessarily take care of your own happiness and satisfaction in the future right now in this moment. But in every single moment, you can always take care of your own peace of mind. So write that down. I take care of my peace of mind. And in every single moment, take care of your peace of mind. And when that becomes your only focus, it clarifies things. You have felt your pain, you've gotten help, you understand strategy versus tactics, and you're taking care of your peace of mind. What will help your peace of mind in this moment? Will having a boundary make you feel better? Will reaching out for connection make you feel better? Will having a glass of wine and sitting on your patio and just breathing for 5 minutes will make you feel better? Will running up a hill make you feel better? Do whatever it is that makes you feel better. And when your focus is not on this big, glorious self-care, but on what can I do right now to take care of my peace of mind, things get better quickly. Number 4, we're rolling along here. Number 4 is move. I don't care who you are. I don't care how coordinated you are. I don't care if you're an athlete. I don't care what you are. Move. I don't care if you can't stand up. Move your arms, move your head, move your fingers, circle your ankles, move your body. Here's something that I want you to do. Move your body right now. If you're driving, wiggle your shoulders. Do something and move your body and just feel the freshness that that brings in. We are bodies, we are minds, and we are spirits. When we are in our mind, we're usually either on the past, he did this to me, or in the future, what am I going to do in the future? What if he cheats again? What happens with this? When you're moving your body moves in the present. Move it. Breathe with it. Feel it. Hug yourself. Touch your legs. Put on hand lotion. Scratch, tickle. Run your hands through your hair. Get into your body and feel your body. It makes you a whole being, and it makes you in the present, and it helps you answer the question, what can I do to bring peace of mind right now? Touch your mind, touch your head, breathe, and move that body. We get sick and we get filled with pain when we hold emotion in. You do not need to hold emotion in. Move it, breathe it. On YouTube, I have many somatic processing videos. Somatics just means embodiment. I have got videos on how to move. Anybody can do it. It's intuitive to you. We all move differently, but it gets us into the present moment, because when do we move? We move in the present. It gets us into our body, and it incorporates all the wisdom of the body, and it alleviates tension. If you think about static electricity and it's building up, you're moving that energy, you're moving it out of your body. I've got a gazillion videos on that. My $200 90-day program is called Affair Recovery. If you go to affairrecoveryforwomen.com, it's the first of my 3 programs. After the affair, get it right there. It's 90 days of meditation, of movement, and of journaling. That program has a guarantee. I guarantee you will not have obsessive thoughts if you do everything in that. I guarantee you will make better decisions because you will be in your body and in the present moment. Free stuff on YouTube, I think it's $208, something like that online, but move your body. That is step number 4. And then the very last step, step number 5, is connect. Connect with other humans. Belonging is a human need. We don't just want to belong. We don't just want to be popular. Belonging is a human freaking need. We need to be a part of a community. We need to be a part of a sisterhood. We need to connect. So if you have a great group, utilize them. Whether it's friends, whether it's family, whether it's church, whether it's pickleball, whether it's bunko, whether it's a book club, connect with people, lean in to people. I'm not saying you have to share everything that's going on with them, but connect to people. Belonging is an essential human need, and finding out that somebody has betrayed you disrupts your sense of connection, because the person you thought you were most bonded to, boom, all of a sudden you find out you're not. So reach out and connect with people. Social media is also a way to connect. It's not the absolute best. I really think one-on-one is healthier, but I also understand when your eyes are swollen because you've been crying for 6 months and you've either gained or lost weight and you don't feel pretty at all. Sometimes the idea of being like, yeah, I'm going to get dressed and go to a book club feels overwhelming. There's book clubs online. There are quilting things online. There are all sorts of things online. My Facebook group is a great place to connect. I'm so proud of me. I am starting a monthly meetup connect. On the 13th of every month, we're going to get together. We're going to connect. We're going to do a workshop. I'm going to have guest experts. It's going to be a great place for connection. So if you have nothing else, show up there. Even if you have a lot else, show up there. But I still want to encourage you to find real people in real life. Go eat at a restaurant by yourself, just to be in the presence of people. Go work at a coffee shop. Get a day pass at a co-working space, even if you don't have work to do, just to go be with people. Check out things at your library, at your rec center. Volunteer in your community. Go up to the school, see if they need somebody to read with kids or sort books in the library or do something, but just connect with people. Connection is truly essential. Volunteer. Oh my gosh, so many places you can volunteer. Not only will you start feeling good because you're doing something good, but you're connecting with humans. Especially after COVID, we've really lost touch with that. And when you're hurting, especially connection, is essential. So that's a wrap on how to survive being cheated on, your healing strategy. Step 1, fall apart. Step 2, get help and understand the difference between strategy and tactics. Step 3, focus on taking care of yourself specifically. Don't disrupt your peace of mind in the moment. Step 4, move your body. Hop on YouTube, check out my videos, turn on some music and dance, or do my 90-day program. It's going to help you. Plus, you'll get in better shape, and who doesn't want that? And step 5, connect. Connect with other humans. Move into that sense of belonging. Volunteering, support groups, whatever it is, volunteer with animals. That's a sense of belonging. Do what you can to connect. Have a fantastic week. Reach out. Remember, rate and review this podcast. Rate and review this podcast. Reach out to me, free 20-minute Zoom call. I'd love to work with you. But I don't pressure you to work with me. Let's just talk. Let's just be real. I've been through this too, and it was horrible, and I'm on the other side. So let's talk. If it seems like a good fit, we're going to keep talking, and it's going to be amazing. But if not, we still talk, and you still have gotten the benefit of reaching out, admitting, getting help, and human connection. So with that, have an amazing week. And as usual, always remember to flaunt exactly who you are, because who you are is always more than enough.
This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. Have you been struggling lately? Relationship issues impact every area of your life. When I found out about my husband's infidelity, I was so devastated. I could barely function. Sleeping was impossible because I couldn't shut off my brain. Eating was a challenge because I felt nauseous all the time, and for the first month or so, everything felt pointless. Whether you're having trouble sleeping, feeling hopeless, or just can't focus, BetterHelp is here to help you. BetterHelp offers licensed therapists who are trained to listen and help. You can talk to your therapist in a private online environment at your convenience. There's a broad range of expertise in BetterHelp's 20,000 plus therapist network that gives you access to help that might not be available in your area. Just fill out a questionnaire to help assess your specific needs, and then you'll be matched with a therapist in under 24 hours. And then you can schedule secure video and phone sessions. Plus, you can exchange unlimited messages, and everything you share is completely confidential. I know that confidentiality was important for me, especially early on when I couldn't even get my own mind wrapped around what was happening. And it was so comforting to be able to speak with someone candidly about everything I was going through, to validate that what I was feeling and experiencing was completely normal. You can request a new therapist at no additional charge anytime. Join the 2 million plus people who have taken charge of their mental health with an experienced BetterHelp therapist. Special offer to flaunt. Create a life you love after Infidelity and Betrayal listeners. You get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/flaunt. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/flaunt, FLAUNT. Thanks again to BetterHelp for sponsoring this podcast.
Tune in next time to Flaunt. Find your sparkle and create a life you love after infidelity or betrayal with Laura Cheadle every Wednesday at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on syndicated Dream Vision 7 radio network. Uncover the truth of what's possible for you on the other side of betrayal and develop the skills and strategies necessary to embrace the future and flourish today. Download your free Betrayal Recovery Toolkit at betrayalrecoveryguide.com.